You're so on top.
All right, here we go. So have you ever wondered what firearm ownership would be like in a foreign country like California? Like Brazil? Find out next.
Same thing.
That's what I was
All right,
thinking.
folks. Hey, if you have legal matters that involve firearms, then you need to call attorney John Dillon. If you have questions about red flag laws, gun registration, gun transportation, or maybe you need to know that your guns are California compliant, well, you can call our trusted firearms attorney, John Dillon. John Dillon specializes in California gun laws. Call 760-642-7150, or you can visit his website at dillonlawgp.com. All right, Mike, who we got for a special guest?
So we have a very cool special guest. I was actually just hanging out with her this morning. Sasha is she's an ambassador for our Not Me program. She's a member of San Diego County Gun Owners, and she frequently can be found at our shooting socials, teaching people, new shooters as a mentor. So, Sasha, are you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfectly. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. Long time no see.
Yeah, right. How was your student this morning?
She's awesome. She was a little hesitant just hearing the shooting around her. So, her flinch reflex was a little dicey, to say the least.
Yeah.
But she got over it. We just practiced one at a time. And like I always try and tell my mentees, when you're going to have, if, God forbid, if and when you're going to have to draw your gun in a protection incident, it's not going to be calm. It's not going to be a really cool situation. You're going to be panicked. You're going to have emotions running high. So use that nervousness, use that fear of the loud bangs happening around you to channel it into your determination to protect yourself and do the right thing.
So let's talk a little bit about your life. You have not always lived in the United States, right? Where are some of the places you've lived?
No, it took us 19 years to immigrate here legally, and meanwhile, I lived in Canada, where I was born, England, Switzerland, and Brazil, and then back to the U.S. for college in between.
And you lived in Brazil for most of that time, right? Am I right?
5 years. 5 years in Brazil. Yes, where my husband is from.
So talk about firearms ownership in let's talk specifically about firearms ownership in Brazil, but then maybe we'll touch on the other countries as well.
Well, so there is no real ownership of firearms in the other countries,
Wow.
Literally speaking. So that's why when I moved to Brazil, the first thing my husband said was, okay, well, we're going to go get you a gun. And I looked at him like he had three heads, and I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never owned a gun. I've never shot a gun except for a BB gun, out in my grandma's backyard or something. What do you mean a gun? I said, I'll just call 911 if I'm in trouble. And he laughed, and he's like, well, there is no 911 here. And the shock of that statement sat with me for a little while, and I didn't understand. What do you mean there's no 911? He said, Sasha, this is a place where if you are in trouble and you need help, you help yourself. You have to defend yourself. You have to defend your home. And so we went out, and he bought me a little .38 Special snub-nose Taurus, which was fantastic revolver, and I'm so sad I don't have it any longer.
I think that's a Brazilian company too, isn't it? Taurus?
Yes,
Yeah.
Taurus is, yes. And they make great guns. Yes, exactly. It was a perfect little gun for my first gun. And I literally had to start from the beginning and learn all the basics, and then move to tactical situations within my home.
So wait, just like that. So you'd never even considered owning a gun before, and then boom, you have this Taurus revolver in your hands. Would you remember it being odd, or was it kind of exciting?
Terrifying?
Or was it was terrifying?
It was terrifying. It was terrifying. So both my husband and father-in-law are I should call them gun hoarders, not gun collectors. But my father, of course, they have a firearm in every room of the house.
But this is in Brazil. Didn't you say that there really isn't? I'm confused by that statement.
So in the countries I'd lived before, England and Canada, there was no gun.
Oh, I see.
Guns weren't a thing.
Gotcha.
Not even the policemen in England have guns, for goodness sake.
Okay, but it was different in Brazil.
Citizens.
And
Brazil,
it sounds like it was extremely necessary because why is it so dangerous? Is it corruption, or why is it so dangerous in Brazil?
So it's lack of authority. It's the humongous gap between the haves and the have-nots. And frankly, policemen are paid about $150 a month.
Jeez.
So would you put your life on the line for $150 a month?
No.
Probably not.
Maybe 160, but not 150.
And so, you know, when you're looking at that situation, there's the violence got really bad when we left. That's one of the reasons we left Brazil, because the violence just got to a point of absolute terror for everybody. Jeez. And everybody we know that could get out has left the country permanently, you know, to live and so on. But no, it was terrifying when I first got those guns in my hands because, as I mentioned, both my father-in-law and husband are huge collectors. So they had a little array of guns, shall we say, for me to try as my first time. And I remember I picked up a 1911 of my father-in-law's. It was huge and chromed, and this thing looked so fancy, and I felt like James Bond. And you know, of course, they're the experts, so they were all just, you know, commenting about, you know, well, she'll probably shoot like that, and she'll probably do this, and da-da-da. And it turns out that I shot perfectly on target, right in the bullseye for about 7 shots, and then my thumb hit the magazine ejector. And so the whole magazine dropped out of the bottom of this gun. And I freaked out, and the gun dropped, and the magazine dropped, and it was just, you know, like, what is going on? I had no clue what I was doing.
Wow. So when you were in Brazil, did you kind of get into it as a hobby as well, or was it purely, hey, this is a tool because we don't have 911?
Not as a hobby at all, as it was a tool. My husband did have actually a federal CCW down there, so he could get on planes because of his work, what he did, and that was enough of a scare for me. We have been chased in a car with him and his best friend in the front seats, and you know, the other wife and myself ducked down in the back while they're exchanging gunfire with people that are trying to carjack us, just because we're trying to go to a restaurant at night. There was a lot of situations. Jeez. And I was not even remotely prepared. And then I think that all changes when you become a mother.
Really? Talk about that. Like, did that really, what did that do? Give you some sharper fangs, or what did that do?
Well, it made me leave Brazil when I was 5 months pregnant.
Jeez. Because
I knew that I couldn't handle that. I was not capable of being in that mode of self-defense all the time, because I took it seriously. And previously just before I got pregnant, I did actually get held up at gunpoint by 5 people with weapons, and it went sideways very, very quickly, and frankly, I'm lucky to be alive.
Talk about that. Give some of those details.
So that was, noon on a business day, and my Dodge Caravan was an imported car, so all the parts are expensive, and the air conditioner broke, and so I had to drive. It's noon, you know, it's hot. I have to drive with the windows open slightly. Well, I wasn't prepared to I didn't realize, I didn't understand that I couldn't crack the window only to the point where someone couldn't put their arm through the window. And anyway, I was stopped at a traffic light in a 3-lane road, and I was second or third car back, and a little kid came over to my window and started asking for money, like they do at every traffic light there. And I kind of, shooed him away and said, no. And he was being very insistent. And then the light starts to change and people start moving, and this kid doesn't get out of the way and let me go. And all of a sudden and also you have to understand, he was speaking in Portuguese slang. So although I speak Portuguese, it was very difficult to understand the slang and that vocabulary. But I did understand when he said, if you don't give me your money, he's going to blow your head off.
Jeez.
And I just went, that part I understood.
Yeah. What was that? What was that feeling? I mean, hair go up on the back of your neck, that must have been
cold.
chilling.
Cold. I went ice cold. And I swear I get emotional every time I talk about it because
I'm sorry,
I
Sasha.
just knew. No, it's okay. I'm working through it, but it's just because I knew that was the situation my husband had prepared me for.
Wow.
Because he had said over and over and over, look, it's not a matter of if, it's when. And when it happens, he's like, you keep your mouth shut. You cannot let them know you're a foreigner, number one, because you will be kidnapped and you will likely be raped and killed, and they will still ask for a ransom, and we're going to pay it to find your body. And so that was always drilled into me. And he just said, you keep your mouth shut and you give them everything and you don't look at them. Just hand it over. Just hand it over. So that's what I started doing. I didn't move. I'm obviously in the driver's seat. I barely let my eyeball go slightly more to the right so I could get a little bit more peripheral vision. And I saw a man with his whole arm through the window with a gun about 3 to 4 inches from my temple. And I just picked up my bag with my right hand off the seat, my purse, and I handed it out the window to the kid. And he said, no, 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 the money, the money. And I thought, oh my gosh, here we go. This is what he was warning me about. So I reached into my purse to get my wallet. I handed him my wallet. No, 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 give me the money, give me the money. Because see, down in Brazil, everybody carries 2 wallets. They carry one wallet with their documents and money, and they carry another wallet to give to these bandits. So he didn't.
A story like, I mean, that is so intense.
Well,
I can't
don't interrupt her. We're almost going to break. I got to hear the end of it.
Go ahead.
So it basically, and meanwhile, all the traffic is moving. I'm sitting in a 3-lane road at a traffic light with all the traffic going around me. And the first question everyone always asks is, well, didn't anyone do anything? Well, there was 5 people with weapons. Who's going to do what? Everyone's going to turn into Swiss cheese. So anyway, basically luckily I had just been paid by my student. I was teaching English down there, and I handed him the cash. And it was only after I handed him this little wad of cash that the kid on the left side of my car left, the man with the gun through the window on my right left. There were 2 other people on each corner of my car on the right-hand side, and there was another person on my back left-hand side.
Jeez.
So had I made any attempt whatsoever to move, to get out of the situation, frankly, to even look in their direction, I would have had my head blown off.
So were you armed at the time?
No, because to have a CCW in Brazil is very, very difficult.
Wow.
It was at the time. So that's why having my husband having a federal one was great, because I felt like, whoa, we're fine as long as I'm with him. And these things tend to not happen when your husband's around.
So, Sasha, you're an extremely hardworking volunteer for San Diego County Gun Owners. With the Not Me program for San Diego County Gun Owners, with our shooting socials, is this your motivation?
Guns and Moses.
Guns and Moses, sure. Is this your motivation because of your experience? Is that why you're so motivated?
Absolutely. As soon as we could, that's what I did when we got here. As soon as our citizenship came through, the first thing my husband and I did was go buy our weapons and get on the list for a CCW.
So, Sasha, did you walk in the house that night and say, well, it happened?
Well, to be honest, it was really traumatic, and no, I actually just pulled into the driveway, and I couldn't even get out of the car. My husband heard the car just running and running and running and running, and he finally was like, what is going on? And he found me just a ball of, hysteria in the front seat. I couldn't actually drive for about 3 months after that. It was terrifying. I mean, it's absolutely terrifying.
That's amazing.
Yeah, thanks for the end of the story. Didn't mean to interrupt you, Mike.
No, not at all.
No.
No, you were fine, Sasha.
That was amazing, Sasha. Thank you so much for telling your story. Thank you so much for all the volunteer work you do and your dedication.
Absolutely.
Anytime, guys. Anytime.
Thanks for watching this clip from Gun Owners Radio. You can watch us live every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. California time, right here on our YouTube channel, or if you're in the San Diego area, you can listen to us on 1170 a.m. We're also available on your favorite podcast platform for free. Don't forget to like and subscribe so that you can help restore and protect the Second Amendment, not just in California, but across the country.